Today, I would like to talk about the heart and about the three brains that we each carry: the head, the heart, and the gut. And what's led me to talk about this is I had a sound bath recently, and whilst I was lying there feeling the vibrations of the instruments on the floor, I just felt a lot of energy moving through my heart centre. And afterwards, we were invited to stand in a singing bowl to ground, and the practitioner said something really interesting, that I needed to take care of my heart, not in a physical sense but in an energetic sense, in terms of overgiving. And I thought this would be really relevant today because a lot of people that are listening to this are probably empathic and have been that way forever, very sensitive to things, and find it easier to give and feel responsibility to do that more than kind of looking after self. And it's something I've been working on for a really long time, so it did feel true. And it then got me thinking about an exercise that I do in sessions, which is head, heart, gut kind of alignment exercise. And from doing that, most people that I do that with are living out of balance between the three centres. So if we look at the three parts of the brain represented by the head and the heart and the gut, the head is designed for logic and problem solving, analytical thinking. The gut brain is the ancient brain, and it's the oldest part of the brain. It keeps us safe and it responds to threat in the moment, so it keeps us physically safe. And the heart brain is the bridge. It's actually the most powerful. It feels truth, it processes emotion, and it intuitively nudges us towards meaning and alignment and our path in our lives. So in our society, in the world that we live in, and that we've been raised in, loads more responsibility is placed on the head, and that ends up running everything. We give it all of the power. It carries the emotional decisions, which it was never meant to hold, and we give it all of the responses. Let's think about this rather than let's feel about it. We problem solve emotional things through the head rather than dropping into the heart space, which is meant to lead, actually, and often gets ignored and overlooked. So in sessions, I often guide people to place a hand on each centre one by one and just tune into that part, and then I ask in that part and ask them to answer me immediately. Like, say, if we were talking about the head, tune into the head, ask the head if it's able to work in harmony with the heart, yes or no. And then we do the same, ask the head if it's able to work in harmony with the gut, yes or no. And if there is a resonant yes, then we move on to the next space. If there is a no, we then work with that and ask, what would you need in order to be able to work in harmony with the other part? And then we can resolve it with the three different bits. So the answers come immediately. It's an intuitive knowing, not from thinking, but just from the felt sense. And very, very often, 99% of the time, when someone's struggling with something, and obviously they've come to see me as a therapist, these parts are not in agreement somewhere. So we then resolve that and get that circuit working properly together so that they're all kind of doing what they should be doing. Often when we ask the heart if it's able to work in harmony with the head, the answers come back something like, I need to be trusted, I need to be listened to, I need to stop being overridden and second guessed. And the head might respond by saying, yes, but I need you to be less emotional, or I need to know that you're making the right decision. So the head sometimes has a bit of a problem trusting the heart because of previous things that may have happened. And when we work with each centre individually, and they're they're then given their roles and responsibilities back. It's almost like a relief for each part, so the head can relax. Oh wow, I don't need to take on the responsibility of feeling through emotion and intuitively deciding what's the right thing, rather than, I don't need to analyze and process that mentally. I can just let that go to the heart space, and I can just focus on the day-to-day logical problem solving. And then the head thinks, oh wow, I'm now being trusted in order to do my job. So it's kind of like, in a business where everybody's got their own roles and responsibilities, so the accountant doesn't do what the HR manager does. It's a bit like that when we think about it. And when they're asked to do something that isn't their job, they don't like it very much and feel overburdened or resentful. So I just thought it was really nice to have that reminder when I did the sound bath of how to be really in tune with, am I working in harmony? Are all my parts working in harmony with each other? Am I coming from a centered space where each part feels like it's doing its role and responsibility, and not taking on the responsibility of another part? So just today, I just thought it'd be quite useful to reflect upon within your own life and maybe ask these questions, maybe tune into each part and just see if there's anything out of balance there, and then work with each part intuitively to resolve that. So as you tune into them, which part has been working too hard? Which part has been waiting patiently to be heard? Where have you been asking your mind to do the job of your heart? What would change if you allowed your heart to lead, your mind to support, and your body to feel safe? Maybe you could journal on that, or maybe you can just intuitively sit for a moment and just really drop your awareness into the three separate parts and just see where is coherence and where is out of balance. And just before I finish, this reminds me of a long time ago. You might have heard of the author Diana Cooper. I remember reading her books in the early 2000s, and I was so excited because she came to the UK and she did a talk in Leeds, and I went to that, and my life at the time was in quite a lot of turmoil in lots of different areas. And I went to this workshop, there's a lot of people there, and she did a heart-based meditation and got us to go in and really look and sort of visualize and see the heart space. And I remember my heart was full of like a tar, sticky, black substance that we then worked on starting to clear. And that was the start of the process of me being able to clear my heart from all of the debris that had built up over from wherever it had built up, and to start to really open that energetic center. So that just reminded me of that, and it was just a really pivotal moment for me. So I'd be really interested to know if anybody else has had a similar experience and what your kind of head, heart, gut journey has been. Thank you for listening.